So, forgive me. Have you gone inside the door?
I'm standing in the opening. The door is open totally, and I'm standing just inside the door. And it's a big, bright area, but there is a hallway on my left side, and it's a hallway in front of me. But I can't see anyone, so I think I'm supposed to go in some direction.
Ah, very good.
I think I will go into the hallway on the left side of me. It's calling to me.
Ah, very good. And I'd like for you to go ahead and go in that direction, please.
It's almost like I'm floating down there.
And you say it's calling towards you.
Yeah, it's it's more of a feeling that I should go down there,
Ah, excellent.
and I'm not aware of that I'm traveling by any legs or something. I'm just floating down there. It's almost sliding down.
And how does it feel to be traveling with no form as such?
It's okay. It's effortless to do that. So it's a nice feeling not to have to carrying any baggage. I've done it many times before. I come into another. I'm coming to another opening, and it's a blue arc on the top of this opening. It's blue all the way around, and
Beautiful.
and I'm going in there now. There's a. Oh, it looks like me.
Oh,
No, it's a lady with the same bright light as I have. It's,
excellent.
she welcomed me, touches my shoulder. She lay her hands on my shoulder and take me deeper into that place. It's like she talking inside my head and tell me come with me, and I follow her.
Very good. And as she touched, did she have a you said she was light too, but she had sort of like a physical form of a hand touched you, or you could just feel her energy as if it were on your shoulder?
It's like her body is made of energy, but still has. I can see the form of her arms, but they are not. They are very fuzzy, and there are no sharp contours to it. It's
Understood. Has she identified herself then?
no.
And where is she taking you, please?
She's saying, I'm taking you to the question corner.
Is she my higher self?
Yes.
Would that be Isabel?
Og, og.
Augustine?
Yeah, I think that's what she's saying. Augustine, yeah. I have met her before. I recognize her, and she's growing in dimension. And it seems like we are there now.
And when you say she's growing in dimension, is she getting tall or?
Yeah, taller, way taller. But I grew with her, so we both are much taller now.
Oh, excellent.
But we could not pass through that doorway again in this size because we are much too tall for that.
Okay, and what does this space look like now that you're in?
It's like a. It's not like a hall. It's like a. Has no boundaries around it, but there's still a pulsating different colors. It's go from. It's almost like it's the color of the chakras pulsating, and it's it's there for raising up the energy level. The light is helping. The colors helping us to communicate.
Oh, very good. And have you gotten to where you're going now?
Yes, we are there.
And is there a place where you can just relax or to now you can, and are you still just with her by yourself then?
Now there's two others there.
And could you ask who those two are, please?
Hank is one saying I'm Hank. Strange. Doesn't look like Hank.
What does it look like? What does he look like?
Like an energy being. Like a really, really handsome and
It just sounds like me.
bright light.
Oh, beautiful.
White bright light. It's glowing.
So,
Very.
okay, so there's you, and there's Isabel, and there's a entity saying Hank. And what about the other?
Augustine.
So Augustine, Isabel, and me, and could you collectively ask them how have we manifest as three entities? What has happened for me to be for myself to be calling me Hank to be there? How is that so? Please.
Just to clarify who we are talking to. It's
So
the
base. I'm sorry.
it's
So is
the
it me, myself, and I?
yeah, but you're all the same. So, but it's different aspects of you, different personality of you.
I had some questions. Are they ready for questions?
We are in that fucking corner now.
They use that language with you?
That man that called himself Hank did that,
Oh my. So,
but not
okay.
not in a aggressive way, just to.
Okay. So ask Hank, is he happy to be there?
Sure, you asked me to be here, so therefore I'm
Oh,
here.
okay. So, give all right. Before I came to the planet Earth, before I manifested as myself here as Hank, had I already ascended? Am I an ascended being already?
Yes.
And did I come to this planet with karma in this incarnation?
No, you have already lost that part of your person.
And is it possible? Has it been possible for me to even collect karma as I came to the planet this time?
No, you cannot connect to that energy. No, You cannot connect to the karma energy. So no.
Okay, and that's understood. And sometimes I know, uh, being here on the planet as myself, that people say things to me, such something as simple as, the woman left a message the other day, and she goes, "I so much prefer Hank, uh, inducing Lars," and and then I responded the way that I did, not to be mean or what have you to the woman, but just to be like, hey, this is for free, and where do you get off? When is it? Is it? When people say things that make me, or not make me, I choose to say what I'm going to say or whatever. But is it meant for me to have these interactions and to feel the way that I feel and respond the way that I respond, for the people to get the reaction that they're going to get by saying something to me as such? Does that make sense?
It does, and yes and no. You are responding on that there are many still holding on to fear and cannot release it. So they try to tell you to adapt so it can fit into their reality. And when you respond that you will not do that, they understand it's not possible for them to demand what you should do to them. They need to loosen that up.
But I think that, so I like, interesting. I'll say I'm Scorpio, born in the year of the dragon. And then if you sort of look up that Scorpio and the year of the dragon, they say the dragon has the fire, the flame, where it's literally coming out of the mouth. So they say that, dragon personalities tend to have a sharp tongue. And then they say the scorpion has a tail that's venomous. And, once again, they're able to strike and kill. You know what I mean? And which means they say that they have a sharp tongue. Was it meant for me to be this way, to respond to people in this way, or is it just something that I've, taken on in my personality and I'm just running with it? Is that what that is, or I'm curious to.
It's a part of your personality, and it's there for a purpose, of course, as anything else of your aspects. And some people need a hush answer sometime to. It's like you're shaking someone that, hey, wake up, wake up. And you can do that in a little harsh way. Some some can perceive it as you are a little aggressive, but it will not harm them. Because if they're not ready to understand what you're doing, they will not affect them. Just in the effect is just that you are planting a seed in them, and they need to do a lot more work before they understand anything of what you do. They
Well,
want you to adapt to them. They don't want to adapt to anything else because they're getting afraid when everything is out of the normal realm they're living in.
I understand that, and I'm not just speaking in terms of just my channel. I'm just like in my everyday life. I mean, I sometimes I think, of all people, why ask me? Of all people, why approach me in such a way when I already know? I mean, I don't always, but a lot of times I'll just say it before I even, it just already comes out my mouth, and I've already not so much insulted someone, but sort of sometimes insult them or put them in a place or say things in a certain way which may be offensive or whatever. And I'm just wondering, is it part of me? Is that something that was meant? Because I believe that there's no accidents and that there's no mistakes. And that I always say, if you're going to come and try and manipulate me or do this or do that to me, I already know I'm going to respond in a particular way. Is it meant for us to run into people, to have these type of skirmishes, so to speak? And
Yes,
okay.
yes, because it's very important, not just for that people you are communicating with for the moment, because it resonates to very many more. that they are not entitled to demand anything. They need to understand that they have all of the ability that you're sending out inside of themselves. So it's not uh, it's not related to the work you do. It's related to what they need to see. So it can be in everyday life. It can be when you are in a shop or whatever. They approach you. They approach you because you're sending out this energy that that they need to understand.
Okay, because I get it with my students sometimes. Sometimes they say things off crazy, and before you know it, it's already come out of my mouth, and I'm like, oh, no. I mean, I've been teaching long enough not to go overboard or whatever, but I've had to really put some people in their place, some especially students sometimes, whenever. Um,
That's why they are attracted to you, because you are the one that can do that for them.
okay,
And you have been approached in this way the the most of the life you have had in this density this time.
that's true. So
So you
even
attract that energy because they need to learn from you. So you are the teacher in many on many levels.
I was just listening the other day. I listened to a lot of different channel messages and I listen for a lot of different reasons. Some people that I just totally resonate with. Susan Lee, they call her. I totally resonate with all of her channelings. And then there's others who I'm like, such as Barbara Marciniak. I'm listening and I'm like, I don't know. She just sounds in a particular way, and I'm not trying to, but I'm just to complete the thought.
But
And so,
that's because you are able to see through the intent, what they have, what intent they have by sharing some messages. And when you feel that the intent is not in the right alignment and on the right path, then it's why you reacted that way. That's your intuition telling you that something is not right, and you are right. They sometimes do this of different purpose, and if it's related to selfishness and ego, then it's when you reacted in that way. It's meant to be.
understood, understood. So, in terms of fear, I know Susan was saying that the Arcturians could could you tell me literally what is my connection to the Arcturians if I have any at all? And please.
You have connection to every entities, every energies, and every levels. So you are connected to what you call Ethereans, and you know that you are connected all over the universe to all kind types of entities, or sometimes you call the ETs, or higher beings, or light beings.
Extra dimensionals.
Yes, but
So, but
it's all the same. So you know about that.
so with that being said, then I'm connected, and then so is everyone else. Then, of course, right?
Yes, you're
Oh,
right. But sometimes the connection is in a tighter bound bind for that time period. Sometimes you're connecting more to some type of frequency, energy, but it's your human that would like to put labels of anything to make sense of. But it's all the same thing. It's all the same frequency, but you can different different frequency resonate with you in different timelines. So that's why you sometimes can see that you're working together with some kind of entities more than others. It's meant to be that because the frequency is different in vibration.
Well, that's what I mean. Now, I need to make this clear. We understand that we're all connected and we're all one. So I need you to really listen to what I'm saying when I ask this question, because I'm talking about. So, say for instance, I'm on the planet Earth. My skin is brown. Lars is on the planet. His skin is white. Yes, there's only one, and we're all one, just energetically, but diverse through a self implosion to explore ourselves. That makes sense. But so we have people here who are African, and people here who are Asian, but then we have people that live on the earth in this density and this what maybe even illusion if you want to call it. But then you have entities that don't live on this planet in this physical universe that live elsewhere that may be energetic entities or what have you, and they call themselves the Arcturians. And then you may have those that are called the Palladians. Of course, we know. I'm not trying to. I want to get past the we're all just one. We know that we're all just one, or at least Lars and I understand that. I needed to break it down a little more so because these concepts, I know every time they come through us, they're always so straight to premise. And I know I've always been focused on premise that we're all one, and that's the most important thing. But it there are, say, we spoke about the blue avians, the ones that are bird-like, that are high vibrational entities. We spoke about the spheres entities that are high entities. So I want to get us not so much to premise and break it back down to our individuality, although illusion, because there's just one, and speak about us in that sense. So when I say Octarians, I'm talking about a group of entities that live in a certain area in our physical universe, maybe on a higher dimension, vibrationally higher than us, but there's a lot of people on this entire planet who are literally channeling them and having communications with them. So that's where I want to go with. And when I ask, what is my connection with them? Like, say, for instance, at one point, I had a dream, and I was dreaming that I was on a planet, and there was the people that were on the planet, according to the session that I did, they were some type of slave labor, and they were exploiting this particular place, and that these people have been brought from somewhere else to there to go there to do the work. And whereas my energy, not Hank as me, but my energetic signature was there. According to what you guys, what I was told in the session, is that I was there bringing my energy center signature there to help rise the vibration of those particular people there. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about where, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get you to say, so
Yeah,
if I,
but you misinterpret that a little bit because what you are doing when you're working with Arterians is that you're working in a very specific vibration, in a very specific energy to reach a goal or to
okay,
reach.
now that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to
Yes.
know, not that
When
we're all just one.
no,
Okay,
no, but yes, of course, but we understand. We will try to clarify it for you and for
thank you.
others. And when you are connecting to the Orions, the people you call, or the entities you call Orion people, then you are working in a very specified frequency, very specified energy that are possible to connect to others that working in the same area, because we all have different tasks here, but we're still working together, of course. We do that in the communities. We're coming together to discuss our work we are going to do, and not only on your planet, the whole solar system, and very many, many, many galaxies. And when you are working with the Orions or the Pleiadians, it's just an expression of a specified energy and vibration.
Okay, so with that said, and thank you very much for coming where I'm for identifying what I'm actually saying. Um,
So when you're
Sus-
working with Orions, for example, you're doing the task of frequency raising on other places together.
Okay.
And when you're working with the Pleiadians, you're doing teaching. And when you're working with other entities or other beings, you're doing other things.
Such as the Arcturians, those in particular.
Octurians is a healing energy. And I think that you're working with the Arcturians when you go to heal planets that are in very low density. Then it's when you're vibrating in that kind of frequency.
And is everybody doing the exact same thing, or is there something that I'm doing that's different from others? So, I mean, can you just say anyone on my street, any person, blah, 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 they're all doing the exact same things that I'm doing?
No,
Or
no,
what
you're
I'm
not
doing?
doing. You're not doing the exact same thing because you have different tasks in that frequency. Because sometimes you can heal the planet, sometimes you can heal the inhabitants on the planet, sometimes you can heal the nature, but you all are there to heal, but you have different tasks. You can be
Okay,
the one that are healing wounds on the planet, in the planet, and others are there to healing the energy of the forest. Some else are there to healing the water. So you're working in the same frequency, but you have different tasks to fulfill.
understood. And with that being said, is everybody on the planet who manifests into the planet right now, did they all come with no karma, or are there those who have been here sort of lost in the sensation that are helping our brothers and sisters, our light entity brothers and sisters, to raise to the vibration because we came here with the intent to help this planet in this transition period?
There, there are still energy on your planet that vibrating a very low frequency, and it's why we always tell you and others to get release of the fear, because it's not karma. It's that you're perceiving it as karma because it's hindering your life. But what you really are doing is clinging on to fear. And
Okay.
it's very important for them that still want to vibrate in a low vibration because they are afraid, because they're uh, uh, what they already know inside, they are denying it over year after year after year because they're afraid of change. And sometimes they also uh, sometimes are in different cults, in a different groups that are coming together to do this lower frequency stronger. So it's very important to put out that get rid of the fear, because karma is not in play anymore. It's just perceived as karma because their life is sometimes hard.
And that's understood. So, with that being said, I'm asking now, are there groups of entities that have specifically volunteered to come to the planet that hold a higher vibrational signature, such as myself, such as Lars? Are there groups of people that are here that are actually here with that particular purpose in mind to help raise the vibration of other people's? And I'll just make it clear, they're called the ground crew, light workers. Those are entities that have come from other places specifically with to help Gaia, which we believe to be an alive living being, raise her populations into higher vibrations. And are there volunteers? And I will say, am I a volunteer? Is Lars a volunteer? Were we chosen and volunteered to be able to come here to help in this time right now?
That's exactly what you're doing. And there is born onto your planets now a total new, different generation, and has been for some decades. You call them sometimes indigo or light workers, they are here from other places, aware of why they are here. So yes, that's exactly the thing you're doing.
Oh, very good. And my purpose, I've already went into this before because I'm speaking to my the three higher self. It's really interesting. I'm still trying. I'm still. It's not clarified. It's not clear for me. You say Augustine is there. You say Isabel is there, and then you say there's an entity who's calling himself Hank, and you can tell what that all three are one and the same. But why individualized in three? Could you explain that to me, please?
You have different roles to play in the lifetime you have in this manifestation. The Hank is the teacher, Annabelle and Augustine taking care of you, and they are also very close connected to you. Hank is the teaching entity. Hank is the one also together with Augustine
Is
and
it's
Isabel
a
are doing work together. You have that planet you talked about is one of the places you already have put together now. So they are totally changing the way that they were living before.
Okay, understood. So, what is going on with my physical body right now? How do they perceive my energetic signature of my body right now, here as Hank sitting here in physicality? What is the as they observe my energy on this planet? What is my what do,
You,
how
you're vibrating in different colors and different frequencies. We see you like a light, bright light, that holding on to different areas of the work you're doing for the moment on this planet. And we can see that you're consisting of a very strong blue color that is helping with the communication, but you also have a lot of healing in you because you have helped to heal and constructed this planet once upon a time, and almost fixing with the layout, not totally fixing by placing some trees here or some bushes there, but the layout that will create equilibrium that the planet need to be a healthy planet for anything living. And you have done that work here. And then that work you're still doing. And you are now trying to heal the wounds that humanity has, sorry to say, make for themselves on this planet.
and do I physically manifest some things in my body as I'm doing this work from the healing work from that aspect?
If we understand you right, yes, you're manifesting the healing you're doing is also manifesting in you by when you're vibrating in that energy, nothing can get through to you to harm you because you are protecting yourself when you're doing this work.
And as you're looking at my vibrational signature as me condensed in the mass here, am I holding fear in my form right now?
You're still holding some fear in the form of being uh, suspicious about others' attempt.
So,
But
say for instance,
it's not
right?
in so big hinder for you because you are now aware of that.
So when I say that, one of the things that Suzil said when she was channeling the Arcturians, she said that their ships are going to be landing, but they're not going to be landing on third dimensional Earth. She said they're going to be landing on fifth dimensional Earth, and only those who are not holding any fear whatsoever and who are awakened and holding the proper vibration will be able to experience that. And so, with that said, which is why I asked those questions, am I holding any fear whatsoever? Now, of course, I tell you, I see them outside my house almost every other day in the skies, and I've seen them just fly right across. So, obviously, I can see them. Would I be able to see the Palladians or the Arcturians if they land or when they land in the fifth vibrational uh, uh, experience of the 5D Earth? Would I be able to experience that with where I am right now with my energetic signature?
Yes,
Okay.
you already do in some way, but you want the more manifesting physically entities, and yes, you are going to experience them in a way that you haven't done before, or to say that you don't remember that you have done before.
Well, that's what she was saying that as well. Um, how often now, I asked, it's been a while since I've asked this, am I interacting with these extra dimensionals such as Palladians, Arcturians, Ornians in terms of here on the planet as opposed to somewhere else doing work elsewhere, but here on the earth or in the dimensional frequency of the frequencies of the earth? How often? Nightly?
If we talk in timelines, you're doing that work every day,
Okay.
because time is not a limited thing, because you don't just have your 24 hours. You have all the time in the world you can use. So you're doing this every day, every day.
Okay, and here's another question. I've had of late in my lower legs some edema. That's interstitial fluid buildup in my legs. Is that because I'm not being as active as I should be, or is there something else that I'm not paying any attention to? I really want you to look at me deeply and
We will look at you. We don't perceive any major problem with you. You need, as you said, as you realized that you need to move a little bit more, because your body is physical and it needs movement to be in balance.
sit around doing sessions and reading and writing is okay.
Taking a walk now and then will not hurt you,
Walking my dogs more often. Okay.
or for a longer period, maybe.
Ah, very good. Okay. Now, what else, since I'm talking to my higher selves, would you like to share with me that you've never been able to share with me before? Um, but
What is the question?
no, I hear okay, I do have a few more questions. In my videos, as I'm posting them, and I've spoke on this before, but I haven't. I've been speaking about this with all these other and higher aspects of ourselves, these other entities from 15th dimension, 11th. I'm sure you're paying attention to all the work Lars and I have been doing. I have energy entities that are coming up and shooting through the videos. There's little orbs that are showing up in these videos. Just because I'm speaking directly to my higher self, my or higher aspects of myself. Um, could you elaborate on just coming from your perception as you're seeing what's going on with me, what those are?
Yes, we can do that. That's are boosting your energy, because the level of the work you're doing is expanding. You will do a lot more traveling. You will do a lot more with your physical body. So therefore, it's important to take care of the body and exercise. You don't need to go to a gym or something. Take a walk in the forest, go by the seaside, and they are there to enforce your energy to perform this task in the future.
Well, there's a lot of different types of entities. Uh, what, three, four, a couple, however many days ago, Lars had induced myself, or he guided me through a meditation. And I just had to ask some questions about those particular sessions. Am I making it up in my head? Or I mean, I can see, and I'm these things shoot into my head, and I know a lot of people who like even have QHHT sessions with me, and sometimes they go, oh my god, did I make it up, or was that real, or whatever. And then of course I've done so many sessions now, I'm actually, I mean, these sessions that he does with Lars does with me are so much more effective than QHHT seems to be with me. But could you explain, am I making some of that stuff up? Like there was a bridge and I crossed over it and there was this glowing man in the water and he stuck his head out and then he went back under. What was that? What did that represent? Or what, and did I just make it up in my head, or what was that?
Did you see them? Did you
I
see?
did see them.
Then you're not making it up, because that was representing that you are now in an emotional and your feeling are in a play mode for the moment, and you need that to recharge your physical batteries. And the water is for you, the feeling you hold into your energy.
Well, the other day we were doing the session and he was scooping me up. And now he's already told me, Lars, when he went and did a meditation, there was a black entity that came across the screen. And could you explain what when they show up like that? Because so far it's been orbs, it's been light beings, but it wasn't. This wasn't on my screen. This was actually on Lars's screen. Now Lars told me who it was from his meditation, but could you explain the blackness of it, and why it was black like that?
When he's doing this session with you, he also raises in vibration to be able to guide you. And as the person he is, he has a lot of entities around him all the time, and often they are not visible. Sometimes they are visible for the naked eye, but it can take a form of a shadow or something black. But they are there to communicate with him, because he has done the medium work before, and they know that they can communicate with him. They often, when they are in a dark form, they are recently has deceased or passed over, and they have no possible to vibrate up to enlighten themselves. So therefore you can see them as black entities.
Understood. Okay. And so uh, this question here, if you're my I'm not going to say if you're my higher self or a higher aspect of myself, but being a higher aspect of myself, all three of you, um, in a session, because I've asked others, I want to ask you directly because I know you know who is Ben, who is the entity that came through at the end of the session and they said, Hank, I thought what you were saying to me before was nonsense or what have you, but I was right all the time. And then the next time I asked about them, they said the name Ben came forward. And I remember a gentleman named Ben that I work with, and I'm not sure if he actually died or not. I know one Ben that did pass, but I was like, it would be unlikely that it would be him. But who was that Ben? Please, could you tell me that?
It's an entity that has been related to you, but in the past. the he's been with you from the other side, observing you, what you're doing, just out of curiosity. He are there to help you a little bit, and he wanted to recognize you that you are a good, hard-working being, as he was. He is related to you, but long, long back in your timeline.
So I know 10 years ago, or maybe it's 12 years ago now. Wow, I can't believe 12 years have passed so quickly. He was a tall, thin white guy that I didn't do a quantum healing hypnosis therapy session with him, but I did a past life regression with him. Would it be that very Ben that I work with at the theater? And if, I mean, I don't know if he's passed or not. I'm not even sure how I would find out if he's passed, but
No, no, that it's not the entity. This entity is related to you personally. It's it's one that will follow your work with big interest. He
in
has.
this lifetime I've had a connection with them, or in another lifetime, or another expression of a lifetime. I know they're all happening simultaneously.
It was 200 years ago,
Oh, very good.
but he was wanted to boost your feeling of that you're doing the right thing, and he's aware of everything you do in writing and in sessions. He just there because you are related in very many different levels, but he
Oh,
also was a relative to you.
in that time frame. Okay.
Yes.
I won't get off into that whole life. Well, just recently, well, actually, uh, yesterday, my nephew, Mike, he and I did a session together, and he died of a massive heart attack. Is there anything that you could? He was a thorax. He said he was a thorax in his session, and one of my students who never met him, who lives, well, now who lived here, said he was a thorax, and then there was another teacher that I work with that said that she was a thorax. So here are three entities calling themselves thorax, and I did a session in August last year when I went home with this nephew who passed yesterday. Hopefully you can connect with that energy. I know he probably can't speak to me, and not that I want him to speak to me now. I'm sure it's too early, but is there something going on with the species of the thorax? Because my other student now says that he has lymphoma, and he's not sure about. He's worried about his mortality in the moment. Um, is there anything you could share with me about my nephew and why he decided to leave the earth in this moment? That's possible to share.
We cannot now. It's not possible to share now. And the frequency is in a transition to adapt to another form of reality. So now there is not possible. So
Well, can you tell me how is it possible that three different people that I know, one relative and two other colleagues and cohorts, are all from the same species of extra dimensionals that are said that they were here as volunteers to help with the frequency rise of the planet? How does that happen?
this is not a special entity that or ET that call themselves thorax. It's just that they are in the frequency of connected by the heart and the chakras of the heart connecting them in the way of energy level.
Well, you say that, but when each one of them described themselves, they all had wings, they all had tails, they all had the purplish whitest skin, and they had fangs. I mean, they all described themselves exactly the way the other one described themselves, but none of them well, two of them physically know each other, but my nephew doesn't know any of them. But he described them and he went into details about the council. I spoke to council members, and they were all a group of entities that have said there were 30 of them in this council that were part of that council or that community that came here to the earth as volunteers to help in this process. So why would they describe themselves as the wings and the tails and go and have such, I mean, the description, they lived thousands of years, they were perfectly parallel and synchronistic. I mean, they said the exact same things about each other.
They were in the manifestation of benevolent uh, benevolent entities, as you can call them. The you can see them as dragons, or just just
And take a
just
long, slow, deep breath. Inhale through your nose and feel your vibration rising and the communication becoming clearer. And
reptilians. Reptilians being physically manifested, but long time ago.
very good. So as you're speaking to my higher selves, if they look at you, how's your energy doing?
Just fine.
And as you're speaking to them, is there any one in particular that's speaking back? Is it Hank who's doing all the answering? Or
Oh, I just hear it in my head. I cannot distinguish between them. They are there as one.
what does this little corner look like? Just you said we're in this corner, and I just started. I don't know. It just came to my head. What does that corner look like? Um,
It's not a corner.
okay.
It's rounded and
Very good.
very bright lights.
And when you arrived there, you said that there was a beautiful jungle, thick, thick jungle around you. What was that jungle representing?
It was a planet you have visited before, they say to me.
Oh, very good.
It
And
took
before,
it took you back here for recognition.
oh, I'm sorry. I was speaking.
They
Could you,
took me back there for recognition.
okay, to the Black Dais, and all right. And just as a reminder for me, okay. So, is there anything else that they would like to share with me uh, about what they foresee? Um, uh, Direction, anything that they could help me with that I may not see, and only, of course, what's possible for me to know.
You should prepare yourself for a little bit of traveling, and you will meet new people that you are connecting to and will work with in in the near future of your. We want you to prepare for that physically and mentally, that this is going to happen. You will do a lot of traveling, not at the same time, but some years you will do a lot of traveling, some years it little more slower, but you have a lot to do in front of you. So connect back to the nature if you have the possibility. It will be good for you. Just go out and meditate in a peaceful, tranquil place where you feel that you can be yourself totally, with no one observing you or interact with you.
Very good. Um, Very good. Well, I'll leave it there. I had this something else was I was thinking of, and it just eluded me really quickly. Um, when you say near future, oh, the landings. I know in the higher realms there's no such thing as time, and there so what's being perceived from your end, you say near future, and perceived from our end. Is there any way to connect with us or connect closer with me because I am you manifest? When you're talking about time and you say near future, you're talking years down the road, months down the road, weeks down the road. Could you actually tell what the difference is between the no time and the time as we perceive it is just over what we call time? Can you make some type of comparison to, okay, when we might say soon and we watch it manifest what we think is soon, but for you guys it takes 10 years, or what we see? I mean, can you give us that, because it's happened already? Do you know what I mean? We say we think something, you see, perceive it as something, and you say it's imminent or you say it's soon, but then we wait for it to happen, and things have happened. Like, say, for instance, when uh, what's my girl, Blossom Goodchild, she said that there were going to be beams of light coming down and that they would manifest on the planet. And then it took what, a couple years, but then they manifest and they were there. Do you know what I'm saying? So could you please, once again, this is my question clear?
What about you doing the work in the future is going to happen during this year, next year, and a couple of years into the future.
Okay, understood. So, and just to make sure, if I could try and squeeze it out of you, can you make comparisons to how long when you say soon to when you think it's soon, and then you see it literally manifesting for us here on the planet? Is there any comparison at all?
No, not directly, because you have to understand that space and time is interacting and it's the same thing. Without space, there is no time. Without time, there is no space.
Understood.
So it's very hard to explain how that works. But when you are in this vibration, you cannot experience the sensation of time or space
So,
because,
what makes you think that the traveling will happen within the year of 2016
yes,
as opposed to 5 years from now?
we're trying to interpret that timeline for you in a way that are making sense.
Understood.
So this year you're going to start to prepare for your work. You will do some more writings. We'll prepare with speeches. You will prepare to present for many people what you're doing and why you're doing this. That is what you're going to prepare from now and onwards. And the traveling is going to taking place next year. I think you can say the spring of next year.
Okay, very good.
More
So,
clear and so is not possible for us to be.
understood. Understood. Um, so because I mean, I hope I haven't influenced his what he's saying, because at first it seemed I thought it would be later this year in 2016 that I may start this traveling.
You will
I'm
do that in a smaller step, yes. You will do
understood.
it in the area surrounding you, but
Ah, I understood, because I was just that first before the red dragon had come up, and nothing seemed to came of that besides me making a really good connection with another light entity, a light being who's has the same intentions as myself. But I just recently was connected with another young lady that I did a QHHT session with, who's starting a chiropractic clinic, and she wants me to come do work with them. And so I will be traveling from here, where I'm normally doing it, to there to do that. Is that a is there anything you could?
Yes, you see, your intuition is talking to you. And follow the intuition, and it will all be fine.
Okay, very good. Well, I'm very thankful that to have this opportunity to come together with Isabel and Augustine and Hank, hey Hank, because it's been a really long while since we've been doing the sessions. I know you're there. I know you're there, and and I acknowledge you in my head or in my thought because I know that you're there, but I hadn't like called you forward and asked you questions or anything like that. And I do so now because, of course, anyone else who sees this, they can see it's possible for themselves to do the same. With that being said, we'd like to go ahead and leave this space and with much love and thanks for all the information that you've given us and given me. Specifically, I am blessed and honored and appreciative. And Lars, is it possible for you to just drift and float away from that scene and Isabel will take you back the direction she brought you?
No, not yet, because it's coming forward another entity that want to talk to you.
Oh, very good. And please do then. I'm prepared.
She's saying she was a she when she was manifested. She's saying, "Did you want to ask me any question?" She say, "I'm Dolores."
Oh, yes. I was gonna go next door, but if you're there, Dolores, please, 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 yes, please.
Yes,
How are you, Dolores? I'm so happy to be in your audience again.
I'm so happy to be able to connect to you.
Well, Dolores, I don't know if you ever met my higher self. That's Augustine, Isabel, and Hank. Have you ever met a motley crew before like this?
We have been acquainted before, yes.
Very good. Um,
I know about your work.
uh, And not that I'm trying to get well, I am. I absolutely am. I'm not going to deny what my intentions are for bringing you forward. I bring you forward for validity. I bring you forward for backup. I, you know, like here I am sitting in Houston, Texas, and there Lars is sitting in Sweden. I never say the city that he's in, but he's in Sweden. And we're doing this via Skype. And still, every now and then, I get people who come through and say, Dolores staunchly said, and I never heard you say that we shouldn't do it on Skype. I haven't seen that interview yet. But I just wanted you not to talk about that, but if you could share anything else about quantum healing hypnosis therapy and these type of therapies and the direction that you see them going from your perspective and anything that you might want to share on just this particular technique, and then I may have some questions afterwards if you would.
Yes, I can share with you that I am now very happy to see this work of mine developing and taking different path. I wasn't not so keen on that when I was manifested on the earth, but now I see it in a totally different way. So it makes me really happy that it is developing and not just dying out as a method. But I am not that I I will not push to that you have to do it in the exact same way I was working with it, because that resonated and worked for me as an entity. But you can do it in different way, in different situation, and it will all be fine.
And so, from your perspective, I don't know if you notice, of course, you have to lead them. And I know you always said keep the questions coming and keep it going because the person may fall asleep or, you know what I'm saying? You always said just keep it going. I was rereading the lesson plan that you had given us. And I
I
find,
I perceive that to be a good method, because sometimes people will slipping out of the higher vibration they are in, and maybe, as we can say, falling asleep sometimes. But the most important is that us are keeping that vibration, that are talking to them and are talking to you. So in a way, it's still important that you let keep it coming, the question, but it's also very important for you to take in the feelings of what are given to you.
When you mean to ask the person who's induced how they feel about what's being said or how they feel about the energy that they're getting, I mean, of the communication that they're getting.
Yeah, and also what you as the performer of the session is getting feelings from what you're hearing. You have to declare that sometimes, as for the moment, the tears is running in Lars' eyes, and he cannot understand why, but it's because these are affecting him emotionally also, and he need to recognize that. And you are also sometimes very emotional, but you are reluctant to recognize that.
No, I think I really can. I think I'm super connected to to the sessions because I that's where the questions are coming from. As soon as something says something, it's not like I'm just waiting to wait for them to say what they're going to say and then throw it in. I really feel like I'm getting it's like ask this because this makes me feel a certain way, and then it leads to other questions. And you know what I mean? I think that's just sort of natural with anyone who's interviewing anyone else. If you're really paying attention to what they're saying, how the other questions just start coming in. Because, like today, we didn't write anything down. I just said, I want to speak to my higher self. I had a desire to speak to Dolores Cannon and then to anyone else who would come forward. And so I,
But
I
it can
could,
be good for you to realize that sometimes it's the analytic part of your mind that's asking the question, and it's not coming from the feeling you have.
okay.
So you need to practice maybe as a being a separation of the analytic part of you that are a big part of your personality, and it's nothing wrong with that at all. It's the way you are, but you're sometimes confusing the intellect with the feelings, but you are not aware of that all the time.
Okay, so with my intellect toward the feelings and okay,
You always, oh, I take that back. You sometimes tend to analyze and put words to what you feel, like something you are perceiving in your visual eye, but it's not. It's inside you when you have a feeling, as people like to say, in their heart.
but that's just because I'm not the one who's induced. It's Lars, and I think every time that I do get a particular question that comes through my mind or a feeling that I get of the next thing, a lot of times they've said, and I'm not trying to make an excuses for it, but they'll say, uh, I get a lot of answers to questions that have, that they go, I don't know how you thought of that question, or that's exactly what I was getting ready to say, or the direction that I was going. But I do understand it, and I will pay close attention to that. Absolutely, for sure.
And be aware of and sure of that there's nothing bad in what you're doing, but if you listen to your intuition, sometimes can ask a totally different question than what your analytic mind are doing. The analytic mind wants you to reach sometime a goal that you want to resonate with others, and to do that you need to ask a specific question to make people aware, and that's a wonderful thing. But sometimes you should go with your intuition, and you often do when you're writing. You often, almost always do that when you're writing. then you are using you used to call it gut feeling, and that's a good thing also. But it's nothing wrong in that you do. So there's no judgment. It's just a, a message for you to take with you, and you will